Order the May 11, 2017 meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority. Would the clerk please call the roll to establish a quorum?
Good afternoon. Directors Campion? Here. Carr? Frost? Here. Guerra? Harris? Here. Hansen? Here. Howell? Hume? McGarvey? Here. Natoli? Peters? Here. Chenier? Here. Cerna?
Here.
Soon? Daniels? Kennedy? And you have a quorum. This meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will replay Sunday, May 14th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker identification form located at the back of chambers and give it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Please silence your electronic devices at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. And with that, we will go right to comments from the public regarding matters not on the agenda. I have two cards. If anybody has comments they'd like to make, please fill out a card and give it to the clerk and come forward. Meantime, we'll start with Jeffrey Tardiglia.
Board, Chairman, I am really, and you're going to probably hear me for a while, bring up the concern is the time clock winds down about getting the grassroots effort about if you're going to attempt another Measure B. I think you are losing time all the time, and I hope you don't go another consultant route to seek out something more when you need to be building the grassroots of letting every community group and every, shall we say, Kiwanis group and every other group know that, hey, we need to get the message out there about the reason why we need a public transportation tax. Not what you did last time and the way you spent money. You have indeed had an accounting, and you've made sure that the STA has done a better job of accounting for its money. I thank you for that. It's still quite a read through, and I'm working on that part. The other thing I will turn around and say, particularly to Mr. Steve Henson, is I hope that anything related to streetcars gets far better public scrutiny and attention. I really think that shall we say, streetcar project needs to be re-examined, and I want to be sure that there's both Wi-Fi router capability in the streetcars so that you do not have, what things that need to be for the future, it could be test bedded on there. I understand in part, but I don't like the way the streetcar route is formed. And with that, I think I shall, I've got a minute left, say is that it's not that I'm against the streetcar, but I think it's poorly designed and planned. And just like when Mr. Steve Henson had the Capitol Corridor up to Roseville, the environmental report was for $200 million, and by the time it was finished, it was $300 million. The streetcar started, 2004 as a $100 million project, and it's now exceeding $200 million, and the other interesting costs that are all sitting in there leaves me rather displeased, so I'm hoping to have people here see what you're doing, and I will next see on your oversight, see if I can make your oversight bureau to see what else I learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Next is Coco Corazella.
Thank you. My name is Coco Cocazella, concerned citizen, and I sit on some action teams that are run by citizens regarding transportation in the Sacramento area. somewhat second some of the things that Jeffrey said. Public outreach. Why is it important? Some reasons that it's important is that the more narrow a focus a group has, or just a group is aligned, let's say, with one agenda or one focus, it's hard to assume that you can understand what the needs and desires of a broader scope of people is. So I think that the more diverse and larger scope of citizenry we bring into decision-making procedures for transportation in the Sacramento area, the better outcome we'll have fiscally, socially, environmentally. So I'd like to put in a plug for meeting time discussion. This is really hard for people who work to come to a meeting of a board in the middle of a day. So if there's a possibility, well, no, I'd like to say more strongly, it's critical to have outreach at times when citizenry can get to it. Okay. Other thing is, regarding streetcar, now that it was brought up, there were some really interesting and cogent remarks made at the RT board meeting this Monday. You might want to review some of the citizen concerns about that, and some of them were very well-researched concerns around legal matters and other fiscal things and issues of congestion, et cetera, et cetera. So it would be interesting to rethink that. Finally, a question is the board, is this board considering another measure, a tax measure for transportation funding, and if so, what is the timeline? Thank you.
Thank you. Diane Osorio?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Diane Osorio. I'm with the Mother Lord Chapter Director of the Sierra Club. And we are also here to echo that we would like to know the time frame. We heard it was going to start in August. However, we think that what public outreach would look like has to be planned out, and we want to know what that process will look like and have a say on it. We're working with a lot of groups, environmental, social justice, and environmental justice groups in Sacramento this Saturday to work on what transportation should look like in our region. And so we really hope that you take into account that there is a lot of public input and a lot of people have a lot of opinions on what it should look like. And we would like to make sure that you guys also consider that public transit really needs to be a priority for the region. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no more cards for public comment. Jeffrey, you already spoke.
You already spoke.
You already spoke, Jeffrey.
Just want to add something if it may be.
No, Jeff, you already spoke, Jeffrey. All right, thanks. Next is Executive Director report. Mr. Hahn.
Thank you. Today, I'd like to welcome our new Elk Grove City Councilwoman, Stephanie Nguyen, who's attending today for the very first time in place of Member Darren Soon. I'd just like to make a few comments regarding some of the items on the Executive Director's report. On May 1st, the California Department of Finance released their latest population estimates. And these figures are highly anticipated by all of your jurisdictions, and including us. And that's because every single one of our programs is in one way or another related to these population estimates. Overall, Sacramento County grew at a faster rate than the rest of the state, 1.2% compared to 0.9%. Combined with the fact that Yolo County grew at 1.6% means that it's very good news for our Freeway Service Patrol program. So we'll get a slight increase because of that. It's not great, but every little bit helps. And then countywide, there were 18,000 new residents, and our total county population surpassed 1.5 million for the very first time. Most of the new residents settled in the city of Sacramento. with 6,900 new residents, followed by the unincorporated county, and then by Elk Grove. But the actual largest percentage was actually seen in the by Rancho Cordova. Regarding the Freeway Service Patrol, I'm pleased to announce that FSP's role in the construction coverage over at the I-80 Across the Top project ended in the second quarter. That's really good news for motorists because there's no more construction going on there, but it's also good news for us because coordinating a lot of that coverage was very, very time consuming. So that's good news. You'll see in the item 4 in the FSP status reports that FSP assists were down 13%, and that's mainly because of the construction FSP going away. Finally, the next meeting of the Measure A Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee is Thursday, April 25th at 4 o'clock, and it is in the hearing room outside these doors. All meetings are open to the public and everyone is welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, I'll ask that you turn off your phones. Madam Clerk, read the next item.
Yes, your next items are your consent matters, items 3 through 6.
Are there any questions of the board or anything that you'd like to pull or discuss or question?
Second.
Moved by Director Hansen, second by Director Howell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Item number 7 is STA credit rating update.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Tim Jones, and it's an honor to serve as your accounting manager. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to update you on our credit ratings related to our bond program. In the first quarter of this year, staff worked with our 3 credit rating agencies, Moody's Investor Services, Fitch Ratings, and Standard & Poor's, to provide information specifically about our internal and external factors that might have an impact on our credit ratings. And I just wanted to share the news and the outcome of that process. On a quarterly basis, we provide our underwriters with financial statements, and those statements are reviewed by their analysts and posted to EMO, which is an electronic website that provides information to the public on the finances of various entities, including the authority. And so the inquiries by the various credit rating agencies were about changes internally that may have an impact on their ratings, that also the revenue projections, they were interested in those, and they were interested in other key data that might impact the authority's creditworthiness. And the good news is that we remain steady. They were pleased with what they heard, that our credit ratings remain in the high quality and very low risk, very low credit risk rating, and that we will continue to work with them as they inquire about the authority. The typical cycle is roughly one to 2 years, so we anticipate hearing from them perhaps in the spring of next year, as soon as the spring of next year, but they will monitor and call us and ask for information as they deem necessary. So the good news is that the authority is in good standing to continue its bond program, and that there's a good opportunity for us to perhaps issue more bonds in the future. So I'm here to answer any questions that you might have related to our credit ratings and this staff report.
Director Peters.
Hi. Thank you. Good report. I'm looking at the staff item, though. It says our credit ratings historically have been very good, and after the recent reviews, each bond holds the same credit rating as it did previously.
Yes.
But it doesn't state what the previous rating is.
Yeah, the previous rating, each credit rating agency has different credit identifiers. Moody's rates us as an AA3, and the AA3 is associated with an organization that has high quality credit ratings and very low credit risk.
Okay, I appreciate that, but I think it needs to go in the staff report.
Okay.
If you're saying we're as good as we were last year,
Okay.
tell us what we were last year. Tell us what we
Okay.
are this year.
All right, I
Just
can do
for
that.
the future.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay. Item number 8 is fiscal year 2017-18 Measure A revenue forecast.
Okay, in April, I presented to the board a budget proposed for 17-18. It also included our proposed budget for 16-17, and a revised actual budget for 16-17. And we had indicated that we would come back to the board with updated revenue figures, projections for this year and the coming year, once our contractor provided that information to us. So at that time, I had put a placeholder in the budget for the revenue projections, pardon me. And if you'll look on the back of the staff report, I have that information summarized. What we had originally projected for fiscal year 2016-17 was $114 million. And in April, I had internally generated an estimate for this year of $115.5 million, which is on the front of the page. But on the back, you can see that our contractor, using a methodology that is consistent with other transportation authorities, determined that our revenue projection for fiscal year 16-17 is $116.579 million. So you can see that our revenue projections are coming in higher than both our original budget and the internally generated estimated forecast for the current fiscal year. In addition, our contractor provided revenue estimates for the coming year, and that revenue estimate is $121 million. And what that tells us is a couple of things. One is that our revenue projections for 16-17 were a bit conservative, which is not a bad thing. The good news is that revenue is projected to come in higher than it initially was planned. There's a 5.3% increase between fiscal year 15-16 and 16-17 revenues based on the most recent forecast, and we project 3.8% growth in the coming year for an average of about 4.5% revenue growth over this 2-year period. So I wanted to bring that to you. We had promised it to you in April, had hoped to have it for May. And these are the revenue projections that you will see in the final budget that we will present to you in June. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Item number 9, fiscal year 2017-18 estimated Measure A allocations.
I mentioned in the Executive Director's report that funding for all of our programs is tied in one way or another to the Department of Finance population figures. Nowhere is that more true than in our Measure A allocations, where 75% of the formula is based on population. And so let me direct you to the corrected table that's on your dais. So it's Table 1. And on the left side of the table are the changes in the formula from last year to this year. And then on the right side of the table is the other component of the formula, and that is lane miles in the respective jurisdictions. The City of Sacramento added the most, which was 16 lane miles. Citrus Heights added 3, and Folsom added 1. And Elk Grove restated their miles, which resulted in a reduction of 44 miles. But other than that, there were no other changes. So using the $121 million forecast that Tim just introduced, you can see that the estimated allocations, which are on Table 2, which is on the back page of the staff report. You can see that Regional Transit is the single largest recipient of Measure A funds. They should receive between $40 and $41 million. And that is just for their light rail and bus maintenance and operations. And you can see the other percentages. The County of Sacramento is the second largest recipient at $17.4 million, and then the City of Sacramento comes in third at $13.2 million. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Item number 10, STAW Budget Subcommittee.
Okay, this should be really quick. As I mentioned last time, I wanted to have a budget subcommittee established so that we could delve deeper into the budget than sometimes we have time to do at these meetings. I have been contacted by several members. So at this point, the people that I've been contacted who have agreed to is Director Chenier, Director Frost, Director Swin, and Director Howell. That leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can take as many as 2 more for a subcommittee if there's anyone else interested. All right, then I will appoint those members of the subcommittee and we will get to you on a schedule. All right. Is there any other questions or issues? Comments of any authority members? All right, we're adjourned.